Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. It is no secret that I have a very long list of things wrong with me. I have a list of the different mental illnesses, mental disorders, whatever, that I have been diagnosed with. And occasionally, I like to sit down and look at memes about such things. I've talked about BPD, I've talked about ADHD, I talk about eating disorders, not in a meme way, but I like talk about eating disorders. But one of the things I don't think I've talked about before is my PTSD. And so today I thought that's what we would do. I'm specifically going to be talking about CPTSD. That's my qualification. That's what is qualifying me to sit down and look at these memes today and share them with you, because sometimes we just need a little bit of relatability in the way that we exist and the things that we feel. And I can't remember if I already said it, but someone suggested that I do this. And so this is for them, this is for me, this is for everyone. All of my fellow PTSD, CPTSD, childhood trauma havers, this video is for us. Prepare to feel related to. So we start off with a SpongeBob meme, because we always love a good SpongeBob meme. It's the one where he's like reading the piece of paper, looking at it like, and then burning it. And it says, "Family is still family, no matter how they've hurt you." And then obviously he burns it and says, "Not in my book." That is the way that it should be. I hate this so much. I hate how many people say shit like, you have to forgive your family. They're your family. You only get one family. Like, I don't have a mother, and what I would do to have my mother in my life, you should cherish her. It's like, shut up. You don't know other people's experiences. In my case, in my specific instance, my family trauma, I don't entirely talk about that much because I don't like sharing that as much. So family trauma, I'm gonna only speak about on like a surface level to what I'm comfortable with sharing. But I do still have full contact with my family. However, I can empathize with this a lot. And I hear people say it all the time. I see people say it all the time. And as someone who has been abused, fuck you. You don't owe your family shit. If they mistreat you, you can cut them off whenever the fuck you want. They don't deserve shit. Ever. Parents are so crazy because they can say the most fucked up shit to you when your brain is forming, and it sets the tone for your whole adult mindset, and then they forget about it the next day. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty... Yeah, that does happen. That does tend to happen. It's wild what people forget. Like, adults, like, truly do not realize the weight of their words and actions sometimes. And they do just love to be like, it wasn't that big a deal. Why are you still thinking about that? Like, because what you said was fucked up, right? One of the, like, core pieces of my trauma, and, like, one of the core things that has led me to the point of where I am right now, was something that was said out of anger one time when I was like 7, and it like shifted my entire life and who I am as a person. And I doubt they remember that it was said. I very much feel like it's not remembered, and that's fucked. That makes me so mad. It makes me so mad and so upset. One specific thing like shifted my entire life, and like no apology or anything, no acknowledgement that it like ever happened. And they probably don't know. So how fun is that? How great, how good. So good. Me learning about boundaries for the first time. Examples of setting boundaries. You cannot yell at me. You cannot hit or punch me. I have the right to say no. Wow, that's unrealistic, said the abuse victim. Yeah. These are so sad. But like, yeah, it's wild how like the most basic stuff, right? Like the stuff that people just truly think is like so basic, easy, normal shit to do, that you're there like, that doesn't sound right. I feel like I'm being trapped. It's pretty wild, right? Like with boundaries, the thing that I always had is like setting boundaries always felt pointless, because setting boundaries meant they were just going to get crossed anyway. And it hurts so much more to have a boundary crossed than it hurts to just like not have any at all. So I stopped setting boundaries because then it meant that my boundaries couldn't be crossed. And then I have to learn how to set boundaries, even though I have a fear of them being like, it seems unrealistic. So true. I'm learning. We all hopefully we can get to adulthood and we can all like join hands and learn how to set boundaries and enforce boundaries together. It's scary, but like, we got this. I believe in us. Staring at children and realizing they're the same age as you when your trauma started and they just look so little and innocent, but then you remember you were little and innocent too. This is one of the hardest things. Like, I think that this is something that helped me the most in my recovery out of everything. Like, it's the most heartbreaking, but also the most like helpful. Like, I have a little sister who is 4 years younger than me, right? Like, I have family trauma and stuff too, but like I said, I don't really like talk about that much. That's like a whole separate thing. But my core like big trauma that consumed so much of my life like 24/7 was that abusive relationship I was in when I was a teenager. And I got into that when I was 14. And at the time that I was experiencing that, I truly did like feel like I was an adult, like this was like a normal, okay thing to be happening. And like, you know, that's just how it felt for the whole like 3 years that I was in there. And then I come out of it. And then when my sister is 14, I'm now an adult, I'm 18, and I see her and I see her friends and I'm there and I'm like, oh my God, she's a baby. She's a baby. If anyone ever touched her, if anyone ever like treated her even in the slightest littlest bit of the way that I was treated, that would be like horrific. Like, it's wild to put into perspective just like how young you were when this shit happens. Like, now I'm 25, so it started like that period of my life, that was 11 years ago. And I see like 14-year-old girls and I get like, sometimes it just makes me cry. I just like cry looking at these young girls being like, oh my God, they're babies. They're so young. And then having to like reflect that and be like, I was so young, and trying to like validate the fact that like, you know, I don't do it anymore, but there was that period of time where there was a lot of self-blame and being like, it was my fault, I did something, like it was deserved, whatever, any of that sort of stuff that we all go through. And like, then now looking at like what a 14, 15, 16-year-old looks like, it's like, no, absolutely not. Like, that's a child, that's a baby. Heartbreaking, and also very helpful and therapeutic, and also devastating exercise to do. Me, age 14. I can do anything without flinching. I take the most horrific abuse with a smile and walk away with my heads up. Nothing can shake me. Me, an adult. I thought too hard, so now I'm having a panic attack. Yeah. I sometimes think about what my life was like, and I sit here and I'm like, I don't know how I managed to fucking do that. And I guess I didn't want to. It was a close thing. The fact that like at this point, like I get so upset and like feel these big emotions over small things, I feel like is a good reflection to how much I've healed. I'm now allowed to feel these big emotions over small things and like react in such ways. But yeah, it's quite, it's good. We've allowed ourselves to like get to a point where we're allowed to be vulnerable and, no, not to take any of that bullshit, right? My face when people say your trauma made you stronger, when in fact, it fucked my nervous system. So now an unrelated stressful event is triggering flashbacks. There is nothing more frustrating to me than when people say shit like, but it made you who you are. It made you stronger. You know, you got through that and now you are who you are. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. You aren't allowed to say that. I can say it about my own trauma because it helps me cope, right? Like, it did make me who I am. I would not be myself without all the shit that I went through, right? I wouldn't be who I am. It did help increase my like empathy and like the way that I view the world and like what I want to do and how I want to do it, etc. Of course it did. It shaped my entire life. It is in my core of who I am. However, it wasn't okay. It wasn't like worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd still be a person if it didn't happen, and then I wouldn't be aware of this version of myself, right? Like, I'm allowed to say that it made me who I am and I'm like strong because of it, because I can't change it. It happened to me. There's nothing I can do about it other than grow from it. You as an outsider are not allowed to fucking say that to me. How dare you? Fuck off. Don't ever say that to people. You're like telling people to be grateful for being abused, and fuck off. Fuck off. Don't ever say that to people. It's so wildly inappropriate. It makes me so mad because yeah, it like impacts you in so many other ways. Like, now different things are traumatizing and have different impacts on you. Like, it impacts every relationship you'll ever form to some degree. Like, it's hard to set boundaries with people. It's hard to say no. It's hard to like do so many things that come so easily to people. And there are so many situations that shouldn't be a big deal that feel like the biggest deal in the entire world. Like, I get asked what I want to have for dinner and I'll have a fucking panic attack. Like, that shouldn't be difficult. What do you want to do? How are you feeling? That shouldn't lead me to like freaking out and not being able to breathe, right? Like, that shouldn't happen. And yet, the funniest part about this meme though is it not funny, but like the timing of this was so wild because while I was looking through these memes yesterday, I live alone presently, and I was sitting there going through the subreddit and I get to this one and then I start hearing this like knocking, like, and I go, oh my God, like it sounded like someone like knocking on the wall or knocking on a window, knocking on the door. And it was just like constant, just knocking. And like logically, I know that it's like the neighbors like hammering, right? They're like nailing something into the wall. They do it a lot, but I'm by myself. And it was triggering. Like, so like I have not had a like PTSD episode, like a flashback or like a trigger like that for quite some time now. And like I sat there, I froze and I started having a panic attack where like I had to hold my breath and like make myself small and like hide away under my desk because I was freaking the fuck out because my abuser from fucking, I left him 8.5 years ago. 8.5 years ago on the other side of the fucking world. This guy whom I had broken up with after being with for almost 3 years showed up on the roof outside of my bedroom window and was knocking. He was knocking on my window and I froze and I couldn't breathe, right? And I like obviously was very, very scared because what the fuck? And then like he showed up a couple times like just to the house in general. He only stopped when I got like a protection order against him. And so even though that was 8.5 years ago on the other side of the fucking world, I still have that like, oh my God, that like immediate like shock instinct that like triggers this fear in me because it sounded like someone was outside knocking on the window and it was terrible. And then it kept stopping and starting for like an hour and I just was not in a good place. I did have a panic attack. It was really good. It was really fun.
And obviously I'm having a fucking panic attack because my neighbor is just hammering lightly. And it's just so, it's 8.5 years. It's been 8.5 years. Why? And like rationally I know it's nothing, but like that's the thing with it, right? Like my triggers aren't really in my control. Anyway, PTSD fucking sucks. Yeah, that's all.
It's not logical, right? Trauma's not logical at all. Like I know logically that makes no fucking sense. That makes no fucking sense. And yet that's how it goes. That's how it works. How good, how fun. There's actually a post about that in here. That's being mentally ill and being otherwise a perfectly logical person is so hard because bitch, you think I don't know my thoughts make no sense? Like, yeah, exactly. It's the level of like that happening and trying to logic your way through it, but not being able to like your head and your heart and your body are like all operating on different wavelengths. Like I'm sitting there being like, he's literally not in this country. Like he's not in this country. That's the nails hammering into the wall. He couldn't fucking hurt me. Like all of this. Logically, I know all of this. And then like the rest of my body is like, but we're about to die. But like, this is what's happening right now. And we need to freak the fuck out and prepare. And it's like, okay, sure. Great. So much of like PTSD and other like trauma disorders and stuff is just like a fight with yourself constantly over what you think versus what you know versus what you feel. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Life is exhausting. It gets easier, but it's still exhausting. I'm waiting for it to be easy. Maybe one day. My therapist likes to be like, your trauma is still young. 8.5 years, she's like, you're still young. It's still new. And I'm like, when does it stop being new? I don't want it anymore. Maybe you're not indecisive. Maybe it's hard to make a decision because you learned it was your responsibility to manage others' emotions or reactions to those decisions. So like, remember a minute ago when I said I had a panic attack because people ask like, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to eat? Thank you. This one I think really really helped me to explain why that's something that I experience. Yeah, I don't like making decisions because I don't know how people are going to react to those decisions. What if I make the wrong choice? I don't want to make the wrong choice. I don't want to do that. I don't want to make the wrong choice. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't someone else make the choice and I will do whatever. I'm happy to do whatever. It's okay. Even if I really do know what I want to do, it's hard. Does it get easier? It's gotten a little easier sometimes, it's depending. It depends on the situation. I have to keep you entertained or turned on so you don't turn on me and abandon me is a mindset so familiar to so many complex trauma survivors that a lot of us don't even realize we're doing it in so many of our relationships. Okay, call me out, why don't you? Okay, sure, okay. Whoa. I know that this is something that I do, and I know that it's something that I'm working on not doing and trying to be more aware of the fact that I do it. But it's difficult because, yeah, it really does become like so ingrained in you. You just want to do what you can to keep them happy and pleased and liking you and not wanting to leave. Sacrificing things and like doing what you can to like make other people happy, because even though they have given you absolutely no signs that they're ever going to leave you or abandon you, you kind of just automatically do it out of this like ingrained fear that you have that people are going to leave. I hate trauma responses because I hate that I know that they're there and I know what they are and I can't do shit about it. Something will happen, you react in a way and you're like, oh, I know why I'm doing that. And I know it's stupid and I don't want to do that. And then you fucking do it anyway. My child isn't traumatized. Your child automatically thinks that if a person does things loudly, that person is angry at them. That connects to the next one. Growing up in an abusive household is a fucking trip, dude. If you've never had someone angrily wash a dish at you or fold a sock in your direction, then how are you going to understand why I get nervous when you quietly do the laundry, or why I ask, are you mad at me, when you set the bag of groceries down too hard? It's a totally different way of living and it impacts you long after you've left the situation. Yeah, listen, yeah. Slight tonal shifts, things being quiet. I think it really does do something. It makes you question everything all the time, always. And does it get easier? Yeah. You have to learn to communicate, and communicating is difficult because communicating is something that, can be punished in the past, and so it's hard to communicate because you have to overcome trauma in order to communicate, and it's a whole thing, right? This is the problem with all of it, is that like when you grow up with trauma, when you have traumatic experiences when you are young, when you have long-lasting trauma, when you have like so much of your childhood is engulfed by trauma of some sort, like it really is so hard to like overcome it. But like at this point in my life, right, I think I still struggle with a lot of it. Like this is something that definitely still affects me and it's so frustrating. But at this point in my life, I know what it is. I know why it is. I have like unwound like the ball of yarn that is my trauma to like a significant degree where I am able to like make connections between things that I never would have connected before. I've been able to pick up like things that happened that weren't okay, things that happened that I thought were normal that are not normal. Like all of these things, as you talk to other people and you like experience the world, you kind of learn different things about what are and aren't okay and what impacts you and how. And I think even if like, we struggle to actually like not do the like trauma response, I think even recognizing that it's a trauma response shows some sort of semblance of healing, I take comfort in that a little bit at least, and I hope to be able to work through more of the trauma responses that I have. And I hope that any of you watching this who also have CPTSD and like trauma disorders and the likes are able to find some sort of comfort in the fact that I see you, I understand you. Like we may have different trauma in different places and have experienced things differently, but like, I understand how trauma shapes a childhood. I understand family trauma and like how, you think things are normal and they're actually not normal. And I just think we need to all have conversations about our childhoods more. I think that it's good to have these conversations because even if you're an adult and you're experiencing trauma responses, sometimes it's hard to acknowledge the fact that that's what it was, that like you were traumatized or whatever and you think that what you're experiencing is normal. I think having these conversations and talking about how things impact you can really help you like figure out what happened and like how it impacts you now, and like maybe help you get through that and like come to a place where it it's easier to deal with, or like have people around you who at the very least like understand, right? Like you're gonna have people in your life who maybe don't understand you, and it's nice to have people who like get that. So then if you are like triggered or experiencing something that like, you know, you are able to express that and like have someone validate you and not like get mad at you for having an emotion or expressing that they've upset you. And I think that in itself makes a big difference, right? Like if there is someone whom you've gotten to a point where you're able to trust someone and like confide in them and tell them what your triggers are and have them like respect that and understand that, I think that in itself is like a massive healing tool and helps you get through a lot of this, like finding out that there are people who like aren't like that. This was meant to be a fun, silly little meme video. I don't know why I thought it would be. We're talking about like child abuse, so don't know why I was like, it'll be a silly little fun video. And I also like feel like I didn't want to come in at the end and be like, trauma isn't forever, we'll get over this, we'll get through. I don't mean to like, I'm sorry if that whole talk there like felt invalidating or anything to anyone. Like I think I've just put a big weight on my shoulders about how like I don't think I'm allowed to struggle, because I want people to look at me and like feel hope that it's going to get better. And so I think that a lot of the time I invalidate myself and think that I'm not allowed to struggle, and so I take away my own struggles and try to turn that into like a positive thing. But I do struggle. It is hard. And I think that I can struggle and like be vulnerable and like have bad days and things that still impact me negatively, and still hopefully like, you know, I'm living a life that I, for the most part, very much love and am proud of. And like, I am happy so much more of the time than I ever thought I would be. And so like, I hope that, you know that like you can struggle and have bad days and trauma can still impact you really negatively, and you can also enjoy your life at the same time. Both of those things can exist, and it would be nice if trauma lessened, and I hope that with time it does and it gets easier, but like life is still enjoyable now. I just hope that it gets better still, right? Anyway, I hope that you found some relatability in this video. I hope you had a little bit of fun. I guess this video was probably more for me than for anyone else. A huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons: Polar Bee, Sienna, Alicia, Marielle, Bree, Bay the Trucker, Chastity, Beckett, Prismatic Petey, Sushi Kawaii, Phil the Duck, Jessie, River, Queen Glimmer, Ella, Mr. Noodle, Radsack, Knitting Menace, Chris, Ellie, Alexis, and Bobby. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah.